Thank you very much, Solly, Mmusi, Athol, members of the media, colleagues. What happened today came as a shock to members of the Federal Executive that met today to implement or discuss the implementation of the resolutions of the Federal Council taken at the weekend. And there were 13 resolutions of the Federal Council, several of which require timelines and management and a lot of logistics and organisation to accomplish. But obviously a great deal of the meeting was spent discussing what you've heard here today from Mmusi and Athol. We didn't take a vote, but I think it was a unanimous reflection of the view of the Federal Executive that we would have far preferred Mmusi and Athol to have remained until the choice was made by delegates at a federal Congress. The two first resolutions that were adopted by the Federal Council at the weekend said, the Federal Council accepts the report of the Review Committee in principle and gives effect to recommendations in the following resolutions. Firstly, that a Federal Congress be convened as soon as constitutionally possible, bearing in mind the administrative processes which should be concluded as quickly as possible to give effect to recommendations of the review process. And that is what the vast majority, if not all, of the members of the Federal Executive would have preferred. That would have meant getting down to organising an early Congress for which we had a timeline on the logistics required, which would have enabled us to have a Congress in April. And then allow the Congress to make the critical decisions, especially about leadership, which is the most important decision that a Congress makes. Nevertheless, Mmusi and Athol, after an adjournment and considering the requests, came to a conclusion that only they can reach as individual human beings after speaking to their families. And so it was with much sadness that the Federal Executive understood and ceased arguing for the compliance with the resolution of the Federal Council, but accepted that they'd taken a decision because, as they see it, their positions have become untenable. We now have a challenging road ahead, but I, as Chair of the Federal Council and also Chair of the Federal Executive, want to pay a tribute to both Mmusi and Athol. Everybody knows the history of my intensive support for Mmusi, and as he says, we have disagreed at times, but I don't think there's any individual in a political party that doesn't disagree with someone at one time or another, because we're a democratic organisation and we have debates on policy issues and other issues. It has never diminished my respect for him and our capacity to discuss issues and to be cordial with each other. And I have equal respect for his wife, Natalie, for their children, and believe me, I know what kind of trauma they've been through. Politics is a very, very difficult space. As for Athol, I've lost count of the number of years that I have worked with him. far, far longer than most other people in the party. We've been colleagues, working shoulder to shoulder. We've been competitors in toughly fought contests. We've devoted the whole of our adult lives. I'm slightly older than Athol, even despite his hairstyle. We have worked our entire adult lives for democracy in this country. And Mmusi remains very young and has a long and illustrious career ahead of him, working for democracy and inclusion and one South Africa for all, which remains all of our absolute commitment. We don't differ on that. We don't waver on that. We are all equally committed to that. But it is an enormously difficult path, and in fact, very few countries have achieved it. So I just want to say on behalf of the Federal Executive, salute and respect. And part of that salute and respect is to respect your decision. And I hope that our friendship and our debates and our disagreements will continue in good faith and in mutual love of our country and vision for the future, as they always have been. People will want to know where we go from here. Our Constitution makes provision for the fact that if a leader departs in unforeseen circumstances, the party chairperson takes over until a new leader can be elected. This is a rather unusual situation because both the leader and the chairperson have taken individual decisions at the same time. So before we rush into something that may not be constitutional and may not be appropriate, we are taking legal advice as to what the right path forward is constitutionally. And tomorrow we will convene a Federal Executive by teleconference to discuss that legal advice and to chart the way forward. I'm deeply moved by the commitment that both Mmusi and Athol have shown to the values and the vision that we all share that are set out in the first chapter of our Constitution, to which Mmusi, Athol and I have all in different ways made a major contribution. And I know that till our dying day we will work together for one South Africa for all, in a country where the economy can grow and where everybody can be included on the path to prosperity. And the Federal Executive, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of the Federal Council, although I haven't consulted them, says thank you very, very much to both Mmusi and Athol for their contribution, and long may our cooperation and work and your participation in it continue. Thank you.